broadcast?
Yes, please. I would request everyone to mute, please, and switch off the cameras. Except for
Yeah,
the
ladies and gentlemen, I think there is some interference on the line. If you could just mute yourself because there's some ambient sound in the background. I think from some source. Yeah.
All right. All the best. Thank you.
So going live in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. And we are live.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Voices, I extend a very warm welcome to everybody. Many thanks for taking time out of your crammed work from home schedules and being here with us to share this event. It gives us great joy to host this event because we feel strongly about the values that the event embodies and what the institution of scholasticism embodies. We understand that with this pandemic and its concomitant lockdown measures, the world has suddenly become trapped within the narrow confines of our devices, offering some window, albeit a meager one, of communicating meaningfully with external audiences, but we try to do our best. Nevertheless, as we realize that education has also gone robustly online, especially teachers, students, and above all, institutional infrastructure as well, and institutional alliances as well. Funnily and somewhat counterintuitively, schools, colleges, and universities have come into sharper focus in terms of national policy and in national debates. And as the familiar trappings of physical classrooms have slowly become replaced by parallel sets of, if I may say, virtual verticals between instructor and pupil, each in their own space, vigorously bound by some kind of institutional ethos and some deep pedagogical commitments. Voices Online, founded by Mr. Ruhail Chaudhry, who's with us here today, we wanted to salute that very spirit, which makes institutions remain relevant in lockdown gloom and aspire for excellence against seemingly unsurmountable odds. So in summary, the Dr. Radhakrishnan Institutional Excellence Awards 2020, the first time that we are hosting these awards, as the name suggests, is our unique way of paying homage to that great academic and statesman, Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan, famously the first vice president, as we all know, and only the second president of independent India, as well as a recipient, among many other accolades, both foreign and national, of the prestigious Bharat Ratna in 1954, as you know, the high civilian award in India. And we thought, what better day to celebrate and to host an award ceremony for outstanding contributions in the field of education in the name of this exceptional luminary, than in this very field that we are celebrating, than on the date of his birth, right? And as most of us are doubtless aware, since the year 1962, a quick Wikipedia search tells me, Dr. Radhakrishnan's birthday has been celebrated as Teachers' Day in India as a mark of respect to the man who believed that teachers should be the best minds in the country. And the thing is, Dr. Radhakrishnan himself stands among the very best, right, when it comes to the immensity of his contribution to Indian education. So among his many pioneering feats, some of which we are acquainted with, he authored independent India's first report on higher education in 1948 and 49, under the auspices of the then University Education Commission, in his name known as the Radhakrishnan Commission, which was in some ways the first decolonized ancestor of the current national education policy, or NEP 2020, the apple of our eye and the favorite subject matter of each debate in educative circles, sectors and circles these days. And this report that Dr. Radhakrishnan drafted, this voluminous report, interestingly enough, retains its relevance even now as a matter of guidance for framing public policy in respect of indigenous institutional growth. In fact, and I quote, he wrote in this 1949 report, and we will find some effective cues from his very words even today. And he says, the process of education as growth is continuous and lifelong. It is said that a pupil gets a fourth of her education from her teacher, another fourth by her own intellectual efforts, a third from her fellow students, and the rest in course of time through life and experience. We learn from the teacher by ourselves, from one another, and from life or experience. Education, he recognized, is not always formal. Where we have a number of keen young men and women as members of an intellectual community, they educate one another through daily give and take. experience, he goes on and reiterates, is a great teacher. So we learn daily and hourly from our home, from our community, from the press, the radio, and the movies. All life is experience and therefore education. So educational institutions seems to be the topic of the day because they provide the formative intellectual architecture for the greatest leaders of every nation, including ours, nurturing fledgling talent and budding potential to its fullest heights. And India's higher education system, in fact, is the third largest in the world, next only to the United States and China. Next, it is my pleasure to formally invite the chief guest for the event, Mr. Utpal Chatterjee. Mr. Chatterjee, of course, needs no introduction, a preeminent journalist and former sheriff of Calcutta, and very well known to all of us who have long admired his persona and work. In addition, Mr. Chatterjee remains an internationally acclaimed and much respected educationist, as well as a prolific writer and public speaker across diverse platforms. We are very, very honored to have you with us, Mr. Chatterjee, and we would love to have a few thoughts from you. Over to you, sir. Mr. Chatterjee, I think you're on mute. If you could just unmute yourself, please.
Right.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Deboshi. That was a very good start to this part of the evening. I've spoken a little bit as the inaugural, I wouldn't say use the word speech, but the inaugural words to kick off the proceedings in the beginning when individuals were recognized.
Right.
Now this time is the institutions. I was hearing you very attentively, and I must say I agree with you. I could not agree with you more. Now, the fact remains, we are in very difficult times, very strange times. Times probably only those who lived and witnessed the Spanish flu or maybe the Second World War, if only for the large-scale devastation, changing of life, changing of the world, the slump of the economy, which could not have gone more south than it did. Well, this time we are hounded down by circumstances that nobody could have thought of in any nightmare of any kind of stretching of imagination. This COVID-19, because it started towards the end of 2019, the 19 is attached, or if you use Marquez's words, he talked of love in the time of cholera, but there's no love in the time of corona. And this corona has changed everything. When you talk of education, well, we have to take the corona into consideration. That is why we have gone digital. We are using Zoom to see each other, listen to each other, and education too, both at the school and at the university level, they are also using similar methods. Whether these methods are going to stay or not, I do not know. But I have a strange feeling that both for institution, which has been using the digital process of communication for a long time, long before this particular virus attacked us or invaded the world, well, one feels that, well, like all terrible things, this too shall gradually leave. But it's anybody's guess. Your guess is as good as mine when that will happen. The sooner it happens, the better, because for a teacher in a classroom, nothing is better than to have the eye contact with the students, number one. Number two, the digital way of communicating or trying to communicate with students is, well, there are mixed reactions to this. So I'm not going to be judgmental about anything at all. There are two things, however, that I would like to point out. Let us not forget something that may indirectly have an impact on education, or, well, is also there as a result of no education, is poverty at its worst in large areas of the country. Let us never keep our eyes away from that. Education is the answer to poverty, and that was something that Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan himself had observed, and with good effect. Now, question is, we are chasing the disease called illiteracy to the extent we can. So, you have to be literate in order to chase and pursue education, both at the school, at the college, university, and since there is no end to learning, we are doing it even as we are at various institutions. We have to tackle problems. We have to have our own little groups of trying to do some new research into things, contemporary affairs that are happening, and to find solutions. That is always there. We have to learn new methods of communication with one another, with also those that we want to reach but cannot. And it is imperative that, apart from trying to ensure that the vaccines do become successful, the third stage, I believe, is almost over. Third stage of trials is almost over. So Oxford informs. Now, once the vaccines come, once things, the things come back to normal, we probably are going to face a new normal. And the new normal has to be, handled very well. Let us also remember that we have to include a whole lot of new faces, new people, everything, you see, who also need to be included into the group that we feel would do so much good for this particular country of ours. We have got to think of, right from school to college, we have to ensure that these people are people who are molded correctly and properly, and we have an India that is not just developing, it will be a developed India, that will be the target, and it will be an India that will also be banking on what has become a priority, and for all right reasons. You see, an India that will be self-dependent, India that will be self-reliant. I'm really very grateful to Ruhel for having called me this evening to be with such eminent recipients of the institutions that you represent. And I do remember Deboshi back in his college days, having judged him. And also I remember having once debated with him at St. Xavier's College, one of those exhibition debates perhaps, I forget, but I just think I did. But be that as it may, I wish this particular event that Ruhel has set up, his first Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan Awards, the individual part is over, now comes the institution part. I do hope this part becomes a success that the first part was, and I should wish you, each and every one of you, the very best, ladies and gentlemen. All those who are involved and all those who may be watching. And thank you so much for having invited me. Thank you very much indeed to each and every one of you.
Many thanks for that, Mr. Chatterjee. It's our honor to have you with us. In fact, it's interesting that you remembered having both judged me and debated with me, because I happen to remember this particular event, which was organized by this socio-cultural organization called Punch. I think it was being led by a lady called Mrs. Ratna Dotto, who had invited you, and Mr. Ashok Vishwanathan. And I was obviously the add-on because I think one speaker had dropped out. And I remember it was raining heavily that day at Rotary Shodhan, and I gathered there late as usual. I'm not known for my punctuality, and you were discussing certain finer tenets of the debate with Mr. Vishwanathan. And ever since then, it's always been a pleasure listening to you talk. In fact, your words never cease to inspire us. And it was interesting that you mentioned the point about literacy, and I think you were trying to extend the logic of learning and wisdom, which sometimes seems to be lacking in many institutional forums in the country, not the award recipients in tonight's event, and that is why they are here. But this concern is more important because we feel the need to highlight it, because we appreciate the value that institutions bring to nation building. In fact, I'm sorry, I was looking up some more quotes of Dr. Radhakrishnan because there were many events that I was participating in. As TC mentioned in the previous segment, I teach law myself at Jindal Global University. And there are various Teachers' Day events being organized thereunder. And another paragraph and paraphrased therein that Dr. Radhakrishnan said, and I quote, and he said that the success of a university is to be judged as much as the type of graduate it turns out, as by the amount and quality of research contributed by its teachers and research students. It must be clearly recognized that there is no conflict between this twofold function of a university, to both educate its members and to advance the frontiers of knowledge. The two functions are, in fact, complementary. A degree must always be what a university makes it, by the kind of teaching it imparts and the type of intellectual and social life it provides for its members. And if our universities are to be the makers of future leaders of thought and action in the country, as they should be, right? Our degrees must connote a high standard of scholarly achievement in our graduates, unquote. This was Dr. Radhakrishnan, the great man. And universities, I fully agree with you, extending the substance of what you were saying, Mr. Chatterjee, are knowledge creating institutions. And I think something that the award recipients of tonight's event fully appreciate and strive towards. And the capability of universities to be able to create that knowledge finally depends upon the role of teachers and the organizational leaders therein who curate such institution building initiatives, if I may call it that. And the role of these leaders is of critical importance. Some of these leaders are present with us today, and we are honored to have them with us in achieving human development, social progress, economic advancement, and not just education or not just filling out degrees, as Dr. Radhakrishnan was talking about. And the broader point is that all of this effort requires a lot of creativity and continued efforts towards maintaining salience. I myself have been a very new entrant in this education sector. Everyone here today has been a part of this for much longer, and therefore I speak with immense humility and I defer to your superior knowledge and expertise in this line. But I'm already able to appreciate that this requires a staggering amount of commitment, resources invested in teachers, students, and that combined journey towards new epistemic horizons. And what? Ultimately for the purpose of building institutions that serve the nation. And so there is no surprise that various thinkers over the years have suggested that institution building is nothing but just one constituent element of a broader nation building agenda, something we all must strive to do at every point of time, where the crucial influence of these eminent seats of learning, some of which we recognize today as Voices Online, and their role must be acknowledged. And it is that light that Voices Online, our organization, wishes to come to the forefront and champion this cause. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to turn to the final segment, the award ceremony. Voices Online is very proud to present the Dr. Radhakrishnan Awards for Institutional Excellence 2020 for outstanding contributions in the field of education. So what I'll do is I'll call up the recipients one by one, and we will acknowledge each of their contribution. And then we will move on. I will finish with the list, and then I will call upon each representative member who have been kindly consensual towards attending this event and ask them to share a few words with us today. So the recipients are as follows. First, the award for the most promising business school of the new age goes to the International School of Management Studies, or ISMS, of Pune, Maharashtra. And ISMS is being represented by Dr. R.S. Ghosh, who is the Director and Head of Academics. Many thanks, sir, for being with us today, and many congratulations to ISMS for this prestige. and that is the certificate of honor that we have designed internally. This is our humble token of appreciation for your continued efforts towards nation building, something that Dr. Radhakrishnan up there in his noble home would be very proud. Moving on, if you could move to the next slide. The next award for outstanding contribution to higher education goes to Career Point University of Kota, Rajasthan. It is being represented by Sri Pramod Maheshwari, I beg your pardon, sir, Chancellor. Many congratulations, Mr. Maheshwari, and many thanks for being with us today and inspiring us with your presence. It means a lot to have you with us. And this is, again, our token of appreciation. Like Kanak was saying in the first segment, if this were a full house auditorium, which I'm sure it would have been in non-pandemic times, I'm sure the house would have broken out in uproarious applause. Moving on, the award for the top ranked New Age Business School goes to Universal Business School of Karjat, Maharashtra, and is being represented by Dr. Raja Roy Chaudhary, who is the Director of Academics and New Business. Many congratulations, Dr. Roy Chaudhary, and we commend your institution's efforts towards this cause. And this is our humble token of appreciation for your continued efforts as a member of, hopefully, an enlightened society, which is deeply in gratitude of your continued efforts. Many thanks to you. Thanks, sir. Moving on, the next award, the Center for Excellence in Private Higher Education System, goes to Venkateshwara Group of Institutions of Meerut, Uttar Pradesh. And it is being represented by Dr. D.N. Rao, who is the CEO of said institution. Many thank you, Dr. Rao, for being with us today. And this is our humble token of appreciation for your group of institutions' efforts towards nation building, towards institution building, and towards enlightening the newer generation of students and members of youth towards a greater nation. Many thank you, sir, again. Moving on further, the award for the top lead business school goes to Globsin Business School of Kolkata, West Bengal. And Globsin is being represented by Ms. Shauli Chakraborty, who is head of the Knowledge Cell and of Academic Affairs. Many thanks, ma'am, Ms. Chakraborty, for being with us today. Many thank you for doing this great service to society, and we are in your debt forever. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us today, for consenting to grace us with your august presence for this event. And many congratulations to your respective institutions, and we are deeply in awe of the continued efforts that your institutions have shown towards causes that are very special to us. And I now request Dr. Ghosh to please say a few words on behalf of ISMS Pune.
Very good evening, and thank you, Mr. Devorshi, for introducing me. And of course, special thanks to Mr. Rupel. My gratitude to the chief guest for the day, Sri Utpal Chatterjee, the ex-Sheriff of Calcutta. And I could not be his part as a student, but I heard his name because I did my PGDM ICT approved the country's oldest B school, that is ISWBM Calcutta. Thank you, sir, for being us and awarding us. And my heartiest welcome to all the award recipients, Sri Pramod Maheshwari ji, because I was with his team. I was in as a capacity of Dean Career Point. Dr. Raja Rai Chaudhary, we are very good professional friend because we are from Mumbai and we have a common forum met frequently. Dr. D.N. Rao, yes, he was a former Vice Chancellor during my period and Career Point. And of course, Ms. Shauli Chakraborty, my heartiest congratulations to you for receiving the awards. Coming to our institutions, that is International School of Management Studies, our journey started in 2009, the establishment, and my special thanks to our group founder chairman, Mr. Devraj Chatterjee, and the group director and head International Alliances, Ms. Salini Banerjee. So they have taken the initiative in 2009 and 2010, the first batch launch. Basically, we run 3 different types of program. One is absolutely 2 years international MBA, and this is 1 year at India and 1 year different universities at UK. All leading universities, and those universities are internationally accredited. The second program we launched that MBA with 5 different specializations that is available: HR, marketing, finance, operations, supply chain, as well as business analytics. And we offer from our institution, this curriculum is not sufficient, mentoring is not sufficient, extension of internship is not sufficient. This is advanced version of certifications, all the certification which gives some knowledge to the students. Then we have started another 2 program, that is postgraduate diploma in strategic level management, as well as that is MBA in agribusiness management. Coming to the thing, the award we received, that is most promising business school. I think the juries, they have taken the survey, they have got the feedback from the pass out students, basically the first batch 2010 and the current session we just began. Most promising means we have certain commitments to the parent. See, if you take the stakeholder ratio here, of course, the promoters, the owners, with the intellectual resources, we have one stakeholder. Another stakeholder, the biggest stakeholder, the students. It is absolutely student-centric institutions. Everything is very transparent. The top management, the core team, the think tanks are well connected. The second commitment, apart from the parents, students, our recruiters, corporate patrons, and the most ever, that is the societies. So whatever we have promised, so we are giving, coming to the concept of the new age. Today, everywhere, there is a new systems. Means the old things are in the new shape. Earlier, we used to call project-based learning system. It is called assignment-based, case study-based. And from the day one, we have just finished the current batch, the current new first year batch. We have taken 18 hours foundation of 5 different subjects: communications, managerial accounting, basic marketing, principles on management, and of course, understanding logistics and supply chain. Then we had 10 days rigorous inductions. Our board of management consists 14 top lead industry practitioners. They are from petroleum sectors, they are from logistics sector, they are from pharma sector, they are from biotech sector, they are from healthcare sector, they are from even IBM, the senior data scientists in our board of management. And we have a 12 senior academicians, those who are the advisor to our academic council. So you can understand this is a new age challenge we have taken, and we could able to deliver successfully to the students. And most important, we have certain commitment to the society. So this ISMS believes the institute cannot be a placement agency. We never ever, even our admission team, the counselor, the field staff, the marketing head, we never commit anything. Okay, you take the course, you take the admission, this is the package, you will give the CTC of 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs, 14 lakhs. We develop the students, we nurture, develop, we promote the brand, and they automatically get their establishment. So during the inductions, our last pass out batch, last to last pass out batch students, this is a live conference this time we have arranged because of the COVID pandemic. So this is our new age. So thanks to the organizing team, especially Rupel, who has contacted me. And actually, I am Mumbaikar, but originally I am from Behala, South Calcutta. I have another connection with Rupel because we are belong to the same constituency, Behala West. Thank you once again, and I also congratulate other award recipients for their best merits. We are not competitor because it's a small village. The entire globe is a small village. Every year we have a connections. So the moment I got the invitation, I have seen the many of the award recipients are known to me at different time, at different level. Thank you all for giving award to my institutions, and I wish you our services, being a society member for any kind of education sectors, we are ready to meet you. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind, Dr. Ghosh, thanks for that inspiring speech, and thanks for detailing the new initiatives that your institution has taken. And like I mentioned before, I'm part of a university which is also relatively new, and it is expanding to the extent there are newer schools. I'm part of the law school, which has still been around for a while, but I see newer schools being launched and scaled up over the years. And I see the kind of institution building initiatives which are undertaken by my peers, by my colleagues, by administrators and organizational leaders around me. And frankly, I am in awe because I realize then with immense humility that, okay, I'm just a very small cog in the wheel and I'm just a teacher. I'm not saying I do not take great pride in my role, but I realize that how insignificant a cog in the wheel I am, because the ultimate summit that is supposed to be scaled, and something that you spoke about, something that you are deeply aware of and that you're working towards is something so much larger. And hopefully we will all achieve. And I fully agree with what you said. This is not about competing against each other. This is about cooperating. This is not a zero-sum game. We can all strive to coordinate with each other, to cooperate and achieve best results for everybody. Thank you so much, sir. Next, I now request Shri Pramod Maheshwari to say a few words on behalf of his august institution, Career Point University, Kota.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I extend my gratitude to all the jury members for selecting Career Point University among the awardees. And I congratulate all the fellow institutions in the list. We are from a very small city, Kota, and we are very young university. We are just 7-8 years old university and trying our level best to create ecosystem at a place where everybody wants to go to IIT, everybody wants to go to medical college. Nobody wants to study in the town. Everybody wants to move out of the town to get the admission into the best of the universities across the world. And my career started as a teacher. So I'm actually by heart as a teacher. I'm a physics teacher. By qualification, I'm an engineer. But I have a dream to set up, and when I started Career Point University, I had a dream to set up an institution which focuses more on providing, the skills to the people to make them self-reliant, employable, rather than as Dr. Ghosh said that education institutions, like most of the people look at as a placement agency, but we firmly believe that we are not a placement agency. We are an education institution. We put the foundation of skills, foundation of knowledge of individuals with which they can, not only achieve the individual goal, but can contribute to the society for the betterment of the each individual in the society. I would not take much of your time. We've been experimenting a lot at Career Point University, trying, international practices, trying to put the international best practices while delivering our curriculum, while focusing to the practical approach, etc. And a lot of support and encouragement from all of you motivates us a lot to continue in this journey. I expect that all the people here on the panel and also those who are as attendee will contribute us so that we can do a little bit what we are trying to do in our society. So thank you very much. I won't take much of your time, and thank you for inviting me and giving me opportunity to speak to everyone. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Maheshwari. It was a pleasure listening to you, and it is our honor to have you with us, in fact. And another interesting point is you mentioned that, we are going increasingly experimental. Of course, it is also related to the age of an institution, your objectives, your goals, how well you as a leader have articulated such institutional goals. But on the other hand, something we spoke about earlier as well, and something which is a central theme to all our activities and all our thoughts these days, because of the pandemic-induced lockdown, and who knows when we're going to go back to normal, right? We have to be more experimental. We have to turn to innovative ways to adapt, to adjust. But the journey, as a lot of famous people have said before, must go on. Many thanks for your inspiring speech, sir. I now request Dr. Raja Roy Chaudhary to say a few words on behalf of his institution, Universal Business School of Karjat. Over to you, sir.
A very good evening to all of you. Thank you, Voices, for thinking about Universal Business School and inviting us this evening. I would like to thank you guys in successfully holding the first Dr. Radhakrishnan Institutional Excellence Award. It's my honor to be in the august company of Mr. Utpal Chatterjee. It's a privilege to listen to you, sir. I have left Calcutta about 28 years back. I'm settled in Mumbai. And I used to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers in Calcutta before I embarked on my journey to move westwards. And for the past 33 years of my life, and mostly it's important for me to talk about the last 10 years where I have dabbled with my academic endeavor in working with various leading institutions. Uh, you know, the irony in the life of a B school is we talk a lot about strategy. We expect students to learn about strategy. And this becomes a huge bottleneck in the life of every student incumbent when they move into the corporate world. And we realized, being a young, thriving 10-year-old B school, the first green B school in India, which is 50 kilometers away from the hustle bustle of Mumbai in the green valley of Karjat, we realized that something should precede the concept of strategic management, and that is culture. So as an institution of eminence, we want to focus on creating culture, because culture is not one man's tryst with destiny. You need to co-create culture. So our organization stands on the 4 strong pillars of belief system. One is culture and co-creating culture. The other one is ensuring that the mindset of the new generation CEOs in the making who come to Universal Business School is a dynamic and a changing mindset. People need to move from the stigma of fixation. The third pillar would be the smell of the forest. For example, since I hail from Kolkata during the mango season in the summers, when my parents used to take me to the native place, 1 kilometer from the mango plantation, if I come across mango leaves which are falling on the ground and I pick up and smell, I can smell the forest. And that's the beauty of world-class education, that you ensure the students understand, besides what they need to learn academically, they also need to understand experiential learning, diversity, and social responsibility. And last but not the least, whatever we would like to share with students, we should ensure that students learn things with deep authenticity. If we cannot ensure that our students are authentic in their belief system, they will certainly not make progress. So in our endeavor at Universal Business School to create corporate citizens who can become role models in their professional career, we promise them with a challenging academic experience coupled with the international flavor. The international flavor coming from Cardiff Metropolitan University, UK, from Swiss School of Management in Paris, from Lincoln University in California, University of Dallas, from University of Economics, Varna, Bulgaria. And these are the opportunities which the students come across when they come to Universal Business School campus as part of their AICTE-based PGDM curriculum, which also has an international flavor, also recognized by AICTE, and that makes our holistic offering very strong, sustainable, and scalable. Before I end, I should thank Dr. Ghosh from the UAM group for getting the award, Mr. Pramod Maheshwari from Career Point for being facilitated and recognized for the stellar work which he is doing, and Dr. D.N. Rao from the Venkatesh group, and Madam Shaoli from Globson. So thank you guys. Thank you once again. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, sir. Another few strands of new learning that I had not thought of. When I was doing my master's, I took a course on culture, human values, and development, and I had occasion to learn how much the articulation of culture, the conceptual formulation of culture defined human progress and defined societies. And I thought that, you know, looking at corporate culture or institutional culture was another way of articulating an identity and asserting yourself better. And what you are saying is something altogether different, something I've never heard before, and something that sounds fascinating to me, that you as an education institution want to return to culture and uphold that as one of your central pillars, as you said. And apart from the fact that you want to put a ear to the ecological ground, as it were, to be a part of the environment, speaks very eloquently to the goals of sustainable development that our newer generations, apart from their professional goals and aspirations, apart from the business strategies, apart from designing newer technologies, newer modes of learning, newer modes of sharing and acquiring information, something that they need to encompass, embrace, and instill in future societies as we go forward. Thank you so much for that. Next, it is my pleasure to request Dr. D.N. Rao, I beg your pardon, to say a few words on behalf of his institution. In fact, the Venkateshwara Group of Institutions of Meerut. Over to you, Dr. Rao. Dr. Rao, I think you're still on mute. If you could just unmute yourself, please. Hello, Dr. Rao, if you are able to hear me, if you could just unmute yourself.
Are you able to listen to me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Thank you, sir. Go ahead, please.
In fact, I must thank the Voices for recognizing the contribution of all the recipients towards achieving academic excellence. In fact, I had the fortune of working with Pramod Maheshwari ji, Career Point University as the Vice Chancellor. I also had the good luck of working with Dr. Ghosh. First of all, I would like to say that it's really a good effort on the part of Voices to award Radhakrishnan Award for Institutional Excellence. I have a point to say here. In today's Indian higher education system, we have grown quantitatively, but qualitatively we are much to achieve. The National Institutional Ranking Framework, they award ranks based on certain criteria, which is not a level playing. It is always towards skewed in favor of bigger and older universities. Really, one should appreciate the effort of Voices for recognizing the effort of small and medium universities and business schools and encourage them to achieve much more milestones. Regarding Venkateshwara Group of Institutions, it is a 10-year-old group of institutions having multiple institutes and universities offering education, higher education in engineering, commerce, management, medicine, pharmacy, and various other disciplines, sciences, etc. We have been working on a different kind of strategy because we want to make an impact on the society. I have learned one thing from our Chancellor, Pramod Maheshwari ji. He used to say one thing when I was with him as Vice Chancellor. आप मेरे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए क्या कर रहे हो? आप मेरे स्टूडेंट्स के लिए क्या कर रहे हो? You people must work for the development of the students. So we had started a career development center in Career Point University. So like that, we have initiated many innovative things in Venkateshwara Group. In fact, recently we have started tying up with foreign universities for training or transferring students for undergraduate and postgraduate programs. Basically, what we believe is like we must facilitate that learning environment where students can develop knowledge as well as skills so that they are able to do something. It is not just a piece of paper, some kind of knowledge, but they should be able to do something. And we have been focusing on developing entrepreneurship also in our institutions. And we are focusing on faculty development because faculty are the ones who really work on the students, who really make their careers. Generally, what happens in the private university system, the bigger ones focus on having a very good infrastructure like that. But for small and medium universities, the focus is not on the infrastructure. We have to focus on our faculty and on our students. This is what we have been working, and I hope many more innovative things will be introduced in the group of institutions. And once again, I thank Voices and the jury for selecting our group of institutions, and also for meeting other recipients, particularly Pramod Maheshwariji, our I would still consider him to be my chancellor, and also Mr. Dr. Ghosh. Thank you very much. Good night.
Thank you, Dr. Rao. We're very grateful to you for those kind words and for sharing your thoughts with us. In fact, another recurring theme that I've been noticing when the award recipients have been saying the kind of mutual respect and admiration that each has for the other. And I think that is indeed very touching for me. And it also makes me realize that this is something that can be very well a collaborative effort, because after all, the beneficiaries of this system, of this collective pool of learning and experiential sharing is, after all, students and youth and the newer generation, ultimately the nation, our future. Thank you so much, sir. Last, but certainly not the least, it is my honor to call upon Ms. Shauli Chakraborty to share a few words with the members of the audience on behalf of her institution, the Globson Business School, Kolkata. I'll be very sorry, ma'am, it's a Saturday night and we have stretched on this event for very long, but we would love to hear your thoughts right now. Over to you, ma'am.
Thanks, Deboshi. Good evening, everybody from Globson Business School, Kolkata. We are really honored and privileged to be conferred Dr. Radhakrishnan Excellence Award. And I would like to congratulate the other institutions and their representatives who are here to receive the award. And good evening, Mr. Utpal Chatterjee, the chief guest. Now, Globson Business School is part of Globson Group. Globson Group is into education, technology, and infrastructure. Globson Group, Globson Business School, built in the year 2002, produces industry-relevant, socially responsible managers. We are built on an edifice of innovation, research, and technology. Over the last 2 decades, we have around 3,000 alumni spread globally. As on date, we have around 400 students in campus. Every year, around 300 plus corporates repose their trust and confidence in the GBS brand. We are a specialized postgraduate management education. We run the postgraduate diploma in management, the PGDM program, accredited by the All India Council of Technical Education, and also the postgraduate program in international business with a partner who is a global partner internationally. Now, the last 3-4 months in the pandemic, has been an exciting time for all of us. We have tried to convert the adversities into opportunities. Now, as I mentioned, we are built on an edifice of innovation, research, and technology. We tried to learn, unlearn, relearn, tried to innovate, tried to leverage the use of technology, and with all agility, converted all our activities from admission to teaching and learning and placements in an online mode. We have focused and done thorough research, on the use of pedagogy. Like we have blended learning, where we have blended the asynchronous and the synchronous mode of learning. We try to bring in experiential learning into our classroom teaching, which is done in a remote way, due to the lockdown. And we follow Dr. Shrikant Datar's knowing, doing, and framework. So we try to innovate and bring and stay ahead of the curve and bring cutting edge research in our pedagogy. Now, we have been conferred with a number of awards and accolades earlier as well. Last year, we received from the All India Council of Technical Education, AICTE, the Best Practices Award, Pan India. We also of late, just 1 or 2 months back, we have been recognized by ET Edge, an initiative of Economic Times, as one of the top education brands of 2020. So we are really honored and privileged, and really would like to thank Voices Online for conferring the Dr. Radhakrishnan Excellence Award to Globson Business School. I'm really humbled to receive this award. And I would also like to thank all our stakeholders, both internal and external, our governing council, our academic council, our esteemed faculty members who work tirelessly on the pedagogy and research, our parents, and most importantly, our dear students. Without their hard work and unstinting support, this would not have been possible. So thank you, Voices. Thank you, all the organizers. Thank you. Congratulate all the recipients of the award from all of us at Globson Business School, Kolkata. Thank you.
Many thanks for that, ma'am. And thanks for sharing your thoughts on how asynchronous and synchronous teaching have been combined and have had to be combined, right? I was talking to some colleagues, some of whom were also teaching in a management school, and they were saying they had to physically be present on campus, and there was synchronous teaching, so there was a video camera rolling. We, on the other hand, have been given other options. I don't know what's it going to be in the coming few weeks. And a lot of faculty members, and I guess each institution has its own design and its own pedagogical architecture, which is motivating their newer decisions. We had to undertake some online courses on online teaching, and we had to enroll with these Australian university educative programs, and some of which was super helpful, some of which gave us new ideas about administering projects and to use technology more efficiently, more seamlessly when we taught, when we learn. Thank you again, ma'am. I've had the pleasure of listening to the award recipients about their institutions and their designs, their visions, which has been a learning experience for me. It is now my pleasure to talk about the institution, the organization rather, that we represent. Mr. Ruhail Chaudhary, the founder, will come back and talk more about that. But before he comes on, I beg your pardon, I would just like to spend a couple of sentences on this. The voicesonline.com, it's an international online youth magazine. And it was started by Advocate Ruhail Chaudhary, who is with us today right now, who is an acclaimed senior corporate lawyer and social activist. And he, along with a group of professionals, co-professionals, and his friends, they started Voices Online with the aim to create an international digital platform for students across the world in order to better communicate among themselves, to share knowledge, and to feed off each other's creativity. And finally, to participate in various productive activities online. And as we continue to find newer ways, more innovative ways to adapt ourselves to the disruptions caused by the pandemic, the Voices Online seeks to sustain continuity in our intellectual and creative output across scholastic communities while exploring innovative ways to reach out, to learn, and to work. And it's interesting that the birth of this organization, duly curated by Advocate Ruhail Chaudhary, was in the midst of pandemic gloom, when things were looking so ominous and so markedly devoid of hope, that he realized that, okay, there are these members of the youth who have so much to contribute, so much to share, and we should design a platform which helps them come together and brainstorm, and we will be only a small part of the process. For the vote of thanks, therefore, to wind up the proceedings and tonight's event, it is therefore my pleasure to invite our founder, Mr. Ruhail Chaudhary, who started, as I mentioned, this initiative and for channelizing his aspirations to scale up his social activism across new avenues. The screen is all yours, Ruhail.
Good evening, everyone, ladies and gentlemen. It's my pleasure to be a part of this great endeavor. First of all, I would like to thank Mr. Utpal Chatterjee, our chief guest, who has been very kind to give us a lot of time today, being a Saturday evening. He has been with us since 7 o'clock in the evening. We had a first part of the event at 7 o'clock in the evening for the individual awards. So since then, Mr. Chatterjee is with us and he has given us time. Thank you so much, sir, for giving us the time and adding value to the award. And I'm sure this award is more valuable because it has come through your hands. The recipients have got the awards through you. So that adds more value to the award. Thank you so much, sir, for being the chief guest of the evening. Devoshri, thank you so much. Devoshri is also the editor of our magazine, Youth Magazine. And within 3 months, it's a new venture during pandemic only, during COVID-19 lockdown situation is when we realized that there is a need for a youth magazine, international youth magazine like this. And within 3 months, with our efforts, we have managed to get 15,000 plus readers who are mostly students from all over the world. So we consider that we are going good. We are able to achieve a lot. To get 15,000 readers within 3 months is quite an achievement, we consider. And we continue to grow, and we continue to grow in the sense of getting more readers. And we also want to involve institutions, be it the schools, be it colleges, be it universities. That is how we want to have a lot of online activities for the students. So these are our plans, and I'm sure in days to come, in near future, we'll be able to have more association with your institutes in terms of organizing online events for the students. So that is our plan. And I also thank Dr. R.S. Ghosh, Dr. Raja Roy Chaudhary, Dr. D.N. Rao, Pramod Maheshwari ji, and Shauli madam for accepting the award. This was the first time we are giving this award. So it is very special to us also. And I'm sure, like being a part of this project, being part of this event, we have developed a relation, and I'm sure we'll continue to have more of constructive activities. And all our team members, be it the technical team, Adreja and Molaida, Mr. Molay Mukherjee, Tathagato, Devoshi, Tathagato TC is a very important part of our voicesonline.com, who has been a part of all the planning. Devoshi is of course the editor and a very important part of our voices. Kanak, Joita, and all the other advisory board members and all our team members. Thank you so much for helping us and making this event a success. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ruhail. I've been asked by the administration to just request the panelists to stay for a screenshot.
For a photograph. All of us, we can take a photo.
And part of the panel also is Mr. Kanak Gupta and Mr. Tathagato Chaudhary, who hosted the first two segments of tonight's events.
Please.
I think TC and Kanak, if you could just give a big wave to everybody. I think only TC has not been able to switch his video on. Maybe he's occupied elsewhere. But maybe Adreja or Molaida can go ahead and take the screen.
Thank you, it's done. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. It was great having you with us today. Thank you, Ruhail, for this wonderful opportunity. Thank you, Kanak and TC, for your constant guidance and support. I was looking at your leads because you hosted the first two segments of this evening. And if Ruhail, you have anything to say, otherwise it's good night from me. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, from the Voices Online team, we would like to wish all the teachers around the world a very happy Teachers' Day. Whether a teacher is teaching in a school, primary school, secondary school, college, university, in any form, whether it is academics, whether it is music, whether it is any form of sports. We wish to salute all the teachers who are helping the nation and build a better society for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. And thanks once more, Adrija and Maulada, for your wonderful logistical support. You are the real stars behind the show. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Thank you.